Joe Rogan is all the talk nowadays with his controversial podcast and drama with Spotify. And, well, there's a lot of celebrities that have called him out over this and for other scandals. From Miley Cyrus to Caitlyn Jenner, even Prince Harry. Let's talk about this and more only in today's video. Starting off this countdown, we have Carlos Mencia. Comedian Carlos Mencia claims that Joe Rogan sabotaged his career. It all started in 2007 when Joe Rogan humiliated him live on stage in Los Angeles. Rogan called Carlos out for stealing jokes from other comics and labeled him as a plagiarist. Later, Rogan uploaded a video of Carlos delivering a stand-up joke alongside footage of another stand-up delivering a very similar version of it. Carlos said that he felt humiliated by this. He later said, and I quote, "What am I supposed to say to someone who accused me of stealing jokes? But not his, and he's the one who's tried to ruin my career? I never tried to ruin his career. I don't know how to address that." In 2011, Mencia also revealed that he had undergone therapy to deal with the damage to his career. In our 9th spot, we have Miley Cyrus. On an episode of Rogan's podcast in which Miley made an appearance, she called him out completely. So the two were talking about Miley's love for RuPaul's Drag Race. Rogan went on to make a claim that drag queens lack originality, among other stuff. And then Miley snapped and defended the show by saying, and I quote, "That's what I think when I'm watching your shows too, you know? All the same stuff." Rogan was visibly shocked by that and didn't have a witty comeback. She completely just shut him down. Moving on to number 8, we have Caitlyn Jenner. Rogan has been caught a number of times making transphobic remarks. On one episode of Joe Rogan's podcast, while talking to Kim Kennedy, he started talking about Caitlyn Jenner, even using their dead name, which is a huge no-no. The comments he also made about Caitlyn were very disturbing, like saying transgender people transition because of their environment. In regards to Jenner, he said, and I quote, "Maybe if you live with crazy biatches long enough, they effing turn you into one. Maybe you go crazy. Maybe that too, especially those ones," end quote. Jenner responded defending herself and her family. She also said that Rogan's remarks were, and I quote, "not a joke. Joe Rogan has a lot to learn." In our 7th spot today, we have Sharon Stone. Sharon Stone is one of the many celebs coming after Rogan for spreading misinformation on his podcast. She decided to come forward and expose Rogan. She said, and I quote, "COVID is not an opinion-based situation, and Mr. Rogan thinking that his opinion or disclaimer for the lives he personally has affected and caused losses of is not an opinion. Mr. Rogan is risking people's lives with his idiocy." She continued on saying, and I quote, "He should put a disclaimer that he's an asshole and that his behavior is dangerous and affecting people's lives and deaths." So she definitely did not hold back one bit. In our 6th spot today, we have Bill Burr. Stand-up comedian Bill Burr also called Rogan out over the misinformation being spread on his podcast. In a recent episode of Rogan's podcast, the two were talking about face masks and debating about if they should be mandatory. And Bill took this as a chance to lash out at Rogan. He said, and I quote, "I'm not going to sit here with no medical degree, listening to you with no medical degree, acting like we know what's better than the CDC. Rogan just laughed at this and then sarcastically said, "Oh God, you're so tough." We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with Trisha Paytas. Trisha Paytas is one of many individuals who have accused Rogan of being sexist. It all started in 2021 when one of Rogan's guests, Ali Makovsky, mentioned to Joe on his podcast that she had signed up to Trisha Paytas' OnlyFans account. Joe then looked Trisha up, saw a bikini photo, and then said, "Yeah, you can keep that," in reference to Trisha's body. Of course, Trisha was not gonna let this comment slide. So they posted a video on their channel titled, "Dear Joe Rogan." In the video, they said, and I quote, "Not every woman is here to be pleasure for your eyeballs. Just for future reference for people, attention trolls like myself that aren't me, you don't have to ugh at somebody. Because chances are, even if they are the most beautiful person, maybe they have already ugh at themselves." Moving on, at number 4, we have Chelsea Peretti. Comedian and star of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Chelsea Peretti is another celebrity to call Joe out for his sexist behavior. It started in 2011 when guest Joey Diaz was on his podcast making remarks about how female comedians give sexual favors in return for stage time. Joe found this hilarious. Chelsea, on the other hand, did not. When the clip resurfaced in 2020, Chelsea tweeted, and I quote, "If you're a male comedian, one thing you can do is tell men to shut the F up when they are saying hateful shit about women and not go on podcasts that are racist and sexist. You can also speak up for women getting attacked online for sticking up for themselves, or total silence," end quote. This started a feud between Chelsea and the two men. Instead of apologizing, though, they went on to say more sexist remarks. In our third spot, we have Fallon Fox. Transgender MMA athlete Fallon Fox also had a lot to say in regards to Joe's transphobia. It started in 2013 when Joe weighed in on Fallon fighting. He said, and I quote, "First of all, she's not really a she. She's a transgender post-op person. The operation doesn't shave down your bone density. It doesn't change." But Fallon fought back, bringing up the discrimination that Jackie Robinson, baseball legend, faced in the early 1940s. They said, and I quote, "Remember when commentators said Jackie Robinson had an unfair advantage because black people had larger heel bones than white men he was competing with? Are we repeating history yet again with bogus bone claims?" In 2021, the pair got in a feud again when Rogan made a comment that generally dumb people now have an easy way to improve their reputation by changing gender. Fallon yet again called him out, this time tweeting, and I quote, "Joe Rogan is being transphobic yet again. He's had more transphobic episodes than you can shake a stick at. Spotify needs to cancel his show already." In our second spot today, we have Prince Harry. For a member of the royal family to speak up about someone means you know that they messed up big time, or should I say royally messed up. Anyways, Prince Harry is another celeb commenting on Joe Rogan's misinformation. He said, and I quote, "The issue is in today's world with the misinformation endemic, you've got to be careful about what comes out of your mouth when it comes to that, because news doesn't exist in just news anymore." He continued on saying, "Just stay out of it. If you have a platform, with the platform comes responsibility." And in our number one spot today, we have Sunny Hostin. The View host Sunny Hostin went off on Joe Rogan 2 years ago on live TV. It happened after President Trump agreed to let Joe Rogan moderate a presidential debate between him and Biden. And Sunny put her 2 cents worth in as to why she thinks he shouldn't be a moderator.
I think given his use of the N-word, given his comparing a black neighborhood to Planet of the Apes,
she really gave it to Rogan, listing all the reasons why he would be the worst possible candidate for that role.
All of that disqualifies him to be the host of a presidential debate.
All right, guys, that's all for today's video. Whether you like Joe Rogan or not, let's keep the comment section a safe place, please. Stay safe, everyone. I've been your host, Lindsay Ivan, and I'll see you when I see ya. Bye.